Well, hello there, boys and girls. Oh, excuse me. What's that, Auntie Hoddle? Oh, yes. I will come and watch you spin at the spinning wheel. I really need to learn how to do this so I can become untangled and not tangled like my mother. All right. Just thought I would throw it in. I told you I had a green screen of a spinning wheel, and that's not Aunt Hoddle. That's Aunt Ida. All right, no, it's not Aunt Ida. It's my grandma. No, it's not my grandma either. It's just some lady sitting behind me. Don't pay any attention to her. Things could get really bad. All right. We left off with Rump figuring out that he is the Stiltskin. He is the Stiltskin. It was with him all the time. He just needed to pay attention. So he's on his way back to the castle. Well, he's going to be, with Frederick and Bruno, who have come back to bring him back to the castle. And that's where we left off. Chapter 31, Third Day's a Charm. Archie slept soundly in the basket, caked in mud and swaddled tightly in blankets. He needed to go back to his mother, and he would. I knew that now. Nothing was binding me anymore, not the miller or the gold or a rumple. I knew I could set everything right, and I started to spin the final stages of my plan. Bet you thought you were being clever, said Frederick. He was still pointing his arrow at me as we walked, and he trembled less and less the farther we got from the trolls. We had to walk because apparently the horses got spooked when Frederick and Bruno ran screaming, and the carriage took off without them. Bet you thought you could outsmart us, Frederick continued. Are you friends with the trolls then? Father always said you were unnatural, a demon. Maybe you're a demon troll. Bruno whimpered and stepped farther away from me. He looked as if I thought I would turn him into a troll and eat him. Trolls are actually quite nice, I said. Much nicer than you. Ha! Scoffed Frederick. You are a little demon. The sky was lightening, and we were almost back to the castle. As we traveled, I scanned the sides of the road for what I needed. With all the gold in the castle, the pixies were naturally drawn to this place. There just had to be nests everywhere. I looked carefully between rocks and in nooks of trees. There, I could see one nesting just inside a hollow tree. Where are you going? Asked Frederick as he fearlessly moved off the road with me. Nature calls again. Get back here or I'll shoot you. Now, Frederick, I don't think I'll be able to spin gold very well if you do that. I smiled back at him, enjoying his furious expression. Bruno pranced back and forth like he might wet himself. When I reached the tree, I gingerly removed the pixie nest and placed it in the side of Archie's basket. The ground was still frozen, so I knew the pixies would still be sleeping. I found two more in some shrubs and another sticking out from a shallow crevice between the roots of a tree. That one was shiny, so I looked closer, and to my surprise and delight, the nest was woven with fine strands of gold. So King Barf hadn't been able to keep all his gold safe. All right, come out now, or I'm going to come in there after you, shouted Frederick. Quickly, I tucked Archie's blankets around the nests to hide him. Then I took off my coat and clawed into the hard ground for dirt and piled it up in my coat. Archie slept soundly through it all. Mothers all over the kingdom might like to know the troll's recipe for sludge. Last, I reached into my satchel and pulled out Opal's necklace and ring. I tucked them in Archie's blankets in hopes that they would soon be returned to Opal, their true owner. But, shouted Frederick, If you're not back here in 10 seconds, I'll come in there and drag you out by your ears. He sounded serious now. I rolled up my coat and tucked it between my arm. You're a strange little demon, said Frederick as I came out from the brush. What do you want with a baby anyway? I just smiled, because I knew they wouldn't believe even a tiny speck of my story. As we reached the castle, the sun rose fully in the sky, its rays bursting all around the towers and the turrets. I took deep breaths of the cold morning air. This was it. It was time to face all my tangles and traps. As we walked through the gates, I felt one of the pixie nests shift. That was very foolish, said the miller. Your friend was afraid you had left her to die. Red was on the floor, still bound and gagged, and she had a large, fresh welt on her cheek. The miller had hit her again. My baby, cried Opal. Give him to me. The miller shoved Opal back as she rushed toward the baby. He's not your baby anymore, you silly girl. You can have another. Opal collapsed on the floor, sobbing. Bruno knelt down next to her and patted her on the back. Now spin the gold, boy, said the miller. No, I said shakily. For all the bravery I had felt in the presence of Frederick and Bruno, the miller still frightened me. What? Asked the miller, his voice soft yet dangerous. Red looked at me, her eyes wide with confusion. A faint hum came from the nests in the basket. No one else seemed to notice, but to me it was shrill. I was shaking. The miller's face was nearly purple. He clenched and unclenched his fists. All the power I had felt just hours before had abandoned me, and my words felt small and weak. I won't spin, I whispered. Oswald stepped close to me, his belly pressed against Archie's basket in the nests. The humming grew louder. Archie began to squirm, and he chirped like a small bird. Or was it the pixies chirping? There wasn't much time. We made a bargain, boy. What do you think will happen to your little friend if you don't keep your bargain? Bargains, bargains. The bargain. I saw it now. You have not kept your bargain either, I said. What? Snarled Oswald. Your friend is still alive. I could have. That's not what you promised. You promised me my friend unharmed, and clearly you have broken your promise, and so there is no bargain. The miller's face turned a deeper red than his cherry tomato tunic. He clawed at the pile of gold next to him as though he thought to strangle me with it. But then he shouted with alarm when he realized that he could not pick it up. Just as with Opal before, the magic would not let the miller have the gold. No bargain, no gold, I said with a smile. Why, you! And the miller lunged at me. I have something to say, said Opal. Not now, girl. The miller grabbed my ear and twisted. No, I am the queen. Opal was standing up now with Frederick and Bruno behind her. You don't order me anymore. I am queen. The miller released me, shoving me so hard I crumpled to the floor, barely catching Archie in the basket. One nest plopped to the floor, and a pixie emerged from it sleepily. He fluttered to my hand. You, said Opal, pointing a trembling finger at me. You told me if I guessed your name in 3 days, you would give me back my child. I stared at Opal. She wanted to play guessing games now? I don't know, she screamed. You promised, and I'm going to tell you your name, and then you will give me back my baby. She paced before me. Everyone was silent, waiting to see what she would do. Is your name Robert? No. Dan? No. It's not Balthasar or Nebuchadnezzar or Spindleshanks or Crookshanks. I know what your name is. She whirled on me, full of gleeful triumph. Is your name? We're going to stop right there, boys and girls. You'll have to just wait for Rump 10. I'm so cool. All right, now go brush your teeth, wash your hands, wash your face, put on your pajamas, and get to bed. Or Auntie Hoddle's gonna spin you into a tangled web. All right, she really won't, but I don't know if she will or not. Good night. See you tomorrow. And that's